Man, oh man, it is a disaster in here. Look at that nice, healthy black mold, holes in the roof. Whoo-wee. Welcome back, everybody. Silas here today. You may recognize this building. I've been in here a couple times before if you've been watching videos in the past. Just a quick rundown at the beginning so you know what's going on. Roughly, would have been 3 months ago, 4 months ago, something like that. The roof blew off of this building. We had a microburst came through here and it just ripped the whole roof off. Now down at the other end of this block is the building that we put the new roof on the building. But we only did half of the block with a new roof. The other half we were going to do later and just never got around to it. And honestly, this part of the building was pretty rough anyway, and we weren't sure if we wanted to invest that much money in it. And so what the plan was is that this spring I was going to come in here, clean this thing out, and then we were going to bulldoze it. However, there's been a slight change of circumstances. What happened is this property cat a corner from us. The city came in and condemned the structure and confiscated it, trespassed the owner, and they confiscated all the stuff that was inside it as well. There was bunches of tools, vehicles. I don't even know what all was in there, but they took everything. Right now they're scrapping everything they don't think is worth reselling, and then they're going to bulldoze the building. But anyway, I was told by a little birdie, somebody that's connected to the city, that they're planning on doing maybe not the same thing, but a similar thing to us. Now, this section that I'm in right here, right now, there's no electricity in here, but this building is not condemnable. Yes, it is ugly though, and so that's where the issue is. Just that one little office area over there that the roof blew off is the only part that's probably technically, I don't know that it's a hazard to the public, but I would say it's definitely condemnable. So technically, they could take this little tiny room right here and tear it down, but I mean, there's almost nothing in here, just a few little things that I'm going to get out today. But that being said, since I'm already going to have to come in here and start on it anyway, I want to stay ahead of the curve. Rather than have them come after us, I just want to go ahead and get done what we were going to do anyway. If you do it voluntarily, it's a whole lot better than if you do it when you're forced. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through here and show you what all's in here and kind of dig through it a little bit, and then I'm going to start cleaning it out. And I've got like all these bicycles right here. I guess we'll just start right here. Cool tailgate. I'm going to get that listed on Marketplace here in a minute. Get the scooter. Bunch of bicycles. These are all ones that I've been keeping for myself that I thought I might do something with someday. Honestly, the only one in here, well, I guess there's a couple of them that are pretty good, is these old Springer fork bikes. I'll definitely keep those. I'll probably, this one here is a Schwinn, but it's got the 5-speed rear hub, so that's a pretty cool setup. All I really want off that bike is that rear hub, and I wanted to put it on a bike like that. And so I need to consolidate this stuff and just take it apart and pull that rear wheel off, and then I can get rid of the rest of the bike. It takes up a whole lot less room. That's a parts bike. That's a parts bike. This in here I just thought was kind of a cool bike. I'd probably sell it, and then that's a parts bike. But I don't have time to do all that today, so all those I'm just going to move to another building that has a new roof. There's a bunch of other stuff in here. All these desks and furniture and whatnot. We're just going to take all that to the landfill. There are a bunch of aluminum wheels. Probably 6 months before I started filming on YouTube, we bought the contents of a giant warehouse. And I mean, it was huge. And as we go through here, I'll kind of tell you about that and show you what's in here at the same time. Like all these hubcaps were in there, but there were many more hubcaps than that even. And I'll just show you all these wheels over here. I mean, I have sold wheels. I have sold probably 300 wheels, and I still have all these wheels in here. And it was clear full of Firebird and Camaro parts, bucket seats. I mean, rare stuff out of the late 60s, early 70s. Tons of good stuff in there, and it was clear full of brand new doors and windows, things like that for houses. I mean, it was a massive place, and we sold a boatload of stuff out of there, cleaned it out. That would have made a really cool video series, but like I say, that was before I started on YouTube. Actually, now that I think about it, that would have been probably almost a year before I started on YouTube. But anyway, this is kind of what's left out of that deal. Everything else we've already sold. And this is just the remnants of what was left over. And I used to come down here and take pictures of these wheels and list them for sale, but man, everybody's always, well, what's the exact dimension of that hole over there and that and that and that and that, and it just got to be too much to make $10, $20 here and there. And so we're going to get rid of all of these. Anything that doesn't sell within the next week or two, I'm just going to go ahead and scrap. And it looks like I have somebody here now. I think I put it on Facebook on my personal page that I was going to be down here today, and 20 bucks a wheel. Take anything you want. And so they're here to check them out now. All right, all he ended up buying was a set of headers that were laying right here. I don't know if I even caught those on camera. But a set of brand new headers, 20 bucks. Can't beat that. This stuff is cheap, cheap, cheap because it is going in the scrap, scrap, scrap. Unfortunately, most of these wheels in here are GM bolt pattern, and he needed a Ford bolt pattern, so not going to do him much good. But yeah, all these wheels in here, I figure, are going to bring somewhere around 15 bucks a piece on average for the aluminum wheels. That's why I priced them at 20. And then the steel wheels, I priced them at 20, but you know, if somebody came in here and was buying like a bunch of them, I would take a whole lot less than that. But so far, nobody's really been interested in those. Now, I probably will go ahead and save the 6-lug wheels just because I can use those on old trucks. A lot of times I get those old trucks that have wheels that are just super rusty and they'll never take air. And so I could take something like this and put a tire on it, a junkyard tire on it, slap it on the truck and make it roll. But I think there's a set of 6 lugs there, or not a set of 3. And a set of 3 right there. I think the rest of these in here, well, here's a couple here as well. Yeah, this in here won't work. The stud holes aren't big enough, so that one will be junk. And then, yeah, here's a few over here. So yeah, other than that, I'm probably not gonna mess with saving any of these 5-lug wheels. There's some interesting stuff in here, like this one right here. I'm not sure. It's an ET, but it's a 4-lug. A little bit scuffed up, not bad. But it's such a cool wheel, but it's just a single by itself. And so what do you do with a single? Finding somebody that has a set of 3 and they need one more vintage 4-lug E2 wheel like this is just nigh impossible. Ones like that, I'll think about them. But ones like those there, I mean, nobody's ever going to want those. People probably want them, but it would cost more to ship those than what they're worth. Probably the same for that one there. So more than likely, all of these wheels are going to get scrapped in here. I had a boatload of these slots. I mean, I had this whole area, this entire room, I had a little tiny path down the middle, and it was solid slots stacked everywhere in here. And I had one guy came in and bought all of the 15s from me. And then another guy came in and he bought as many as he could fit inside of his truck, all at once. And he was going to come back and get the rest of them, and it never did. But then now I had another guy said that he'll just go ahead and come down here and take all the rest of them. So I need to get those counted up. But for now, I think what I want to do is kind of start up here. Oh, there's a few other things like this. This hood right here, I think this is for a 69 Mustang fiberglass hood. I've tried to sell it a million times for like 20, 30 bucks. Nobody wanted it, so we'll take that out, throw it in the scrap. Of course, all of these file cabinets are going to go in the scrap. There's some more furniture that will haul to the landfill. Chevy truck grills are actually sold. But I do have these heads. I tried selling these. These are 4X heads. And I mean, I know they have some core value, but I couldn't really get anybody to come through and actually come pick them up. Everybody said they wanted them, but nobody actually showed up to get them. So probably chuck those. I do have the steering column here. It's got a key in it. It's a tilt column. And so I might hang on to that, try to sell that. Here's an old Mustang deck lid, like early Mustang deck lid. Rust free. I've had it for sale for 50 bucks forever and a day and nobody wants it. So probably go ahead and scrap that as well. And then here is a quarter panel for a Civic square body. It's like a replacement quarter panel like you would cut out and put in. The guy that bought the grills wants that as well, and then I'm sure he'll want those 3 hubcaps there. Here's an old Chevy intake, probably a 327 I'm guessing, but it's got the oil fill tube on it. Might hang on to that for now. And then I've got this pile of fenders back here. I had a boatload of fenders. I have sold so many Firebird fenders, it's unreal. But this is kind of what's left over. And I actually sold these. A guy came and paid for them. He put everything he could fit in his truck and said he'd be right back later that afternoon to get the rest of them. And I never saw him again. I think 2 of these, I think it's these 2 here, maybe it's the 2 back there, are brand new fenders. Never been put on a car. But therefore a little bit newer, like out of the 70s. These 2 here are out of the 60s. This one is sold. That one there's kind of crunched on the front, so he didn't want it. And then that's like a 71 or 2 Monte Carlo fender back there. I had a Derby buddy that wanted it, but I don't know. I never heard back from him either. So more than likely, I'm just going to scrap all of these except for that one fender there. I've had this pair here listed for 50 bucks for the pair for, once again, probably about 2 years. And nobody's been interested. So as I'm chucking this stuff in the scrap, nobody can say, oh, I didn't know you had it, because this stuff's been for sale for years. I've been on YouTube for 4 years, and I got this stuff a year before that, so about 5 years now. What's in here? Oh, superhero cards, or Batman cards or something. I don't even know what all these are. There's some sort of Batman trading cards. It's interesting. I have no clue if those are worth any money or not. Probably not. It's marked $3. And then a jigsaw puzzle. That's actually pretty old there, I think. That might be worth something. Who knows if it's complete or not. And then Stratego. Huh. I have no clue what that even is. I've never heard of that game before. So we'll see on that stuff. Let's go over here and check out a few more things that are in here, and then we'll get started. Unfortunately, it's like minus 15 wind chills today and blowing snow, so I think my open house idea is going to fall through. I had posted on Facebook that I'd be here all day today, but I have a feeling nobody's going to come see me. Weather did not cooperate, and so that's unfortunate for all this junk. I've got this trailer here. This is my trailer. I used to use this thing all the time until I got a big trailer. Then I had no use for this one, but I don't want to get rid of it. I bought this trailer for like $200, and I had to weld new brackets and put new taillights on it. That's all I had to do to. Oh, and I put some wheels and tires on it too. But those are free. I got them at the junkyard. Taillights are the only thing I actually had to pay for. But I got to figure out where I'm going to put it. I don't want to park it outside because, you know, the tires, the wood, and all that will just rot. So I'll probably take it out and put it in the other barn at the other property. Whenever you do need a small utility trailer, that thing is super handy. I just don't need it that often. And then we've got this thing in here. This thing here ran and drove perfect. Nothing wrong with it. It had brand spanking new tires on it. I mean, brand new tires on it. But the title was all messed up. And where they had signed, multiple people had signed the title. And so we thought, well, we'll try to get that straightened out. And we could just never get it straightened out. And so it's been sitting here all this time. Now these tires are old. Probably not worth anything. That's a shame. I mean, there's like $1,200 worth of rubber there. But, oh well, what do you do? Then over here I got a bunch of batteries. We used to get all of the new takeout batteries from a place that makes school buses not far from here. And these were all good ones that, back in the day, we used to sell these for 20 bucks a piece, exchange. And I'd sell probably one a month or so. They just weren't that popular. People would rather go to the store and spend $100 on a new one, even though these were new. Go figure. I'll probably save that. That'll sell pretty easy there. I didn't even know that was in here. And then I got this rack here. That'll sell. Got a pair of bucket seats here. What are these? Oh, Thunderbird. Yeah, Thunderbird buckets. Actually, now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure I sold these seats like 4 years ago. And the guy was going to come get them and then never did. So I think at this point in time, those are for sale again. And then some more racks and whatnot. I'll probably sell this, and this will sell down in Texas. The yellow cart, we'll save that, take it out the shop. That's perfect for putting stuff on to wheel it around. Heavy stuff. So yeah, there's a few good things in here to keep. Got this thing here. I could probably use that if I can get it to run. I forgot it was even in here. I hardly ever come in this building. Got too much stuff, too many places. And then last but not least, let's go in the dungeon. We used to have this rented out to a guy, and this was his office, and he had like a vinyl lettering company where he'd make signs and whatnot, and this is where he'd do all of that at. But I've got this 1968 318 laying here. I want to keep that just in case I ever do anything with an old Dodge truck. I'll probably take that out, put it in the other barn. Looks like we got a nice quarter panel for a Z71. Looks like a 98 or 99 to whatever 05. I could be off on that. Cherry picker, that thing worked fine when I put it in here. I'm sure it still does. And then back here, probably just a bunch of scrap, it looks like. Probably just scrap that table. This room here, I think, yeah, this one's empty. And then in here, I've got a whole bunch of like vintage truck accessories. We got sliding rear windows. We've got bedside protectors. Over there is tailgate protectors. I mean, some pretty neat stuff, really, but man, what do you do with it all? I sold it all once, and once again, that's been several years, and I've never seen the guy since. So probably not even going to try selling this stuff again. I'll probably just take it out of here, chuck it in the scrap. Got to get this thing cleaned out and just get started on it and get it done. I got a set of Buddy buckets out of a Dodge truck laying here, of course. It wasn't leaking as bad right here. That's why I put them over here, because most of the water comes in like right through here in the center. And then obviously this room here leaks pretty bad too. That's why the ceiling is all falling in. There's a few good things in here I got to get out. I got a few Chevy truck parts laying here. Whatever's not ruined, I'll go ahead and save. The stuff that's ruined, I'll just go ahead and chuck. None of this stuff was really good stuff to start with, so really not that big of a deal. You know, honestly, I think, yeah, there's a throttle body, a few license plates, instrument cluster, some temperature controls, and those Chevy truck parts there. And there might be a few little things laying down here that I'll save. But other than that, I'm just going to chuck all this in the scrap. I'm not sure how I'm going to go out doing the scrap. I thought about, you know, bringing my trailer up here and with a car on it, like a junk car, maybe cut the roof off or something like that, and then I can just carry the stuff out and chuck it. I haven't decided on that. But today we're not going to worry about the scrap. Today we're going to worry about, mainly I want to get the bicycles out of here, and I want to kind of sort through the wheels a little bit. And if there are any better ones that I really don't want to scrap, go ahead and get those listed for sale. I'm sure you're wondering, Silas, why in the world are you keeping these bikes? You never ride bikes. And honestly, I don't know the answer to that question, but I really like these Murray frames like this. This is a space liner here, but they also made the flight liner, the J.C. Higgins flight liner, the Sears space liner. That's a Western Flyer Cosmic Flyer over there, that one. And then Murray made their own model as well. I forget what it was called, but they're all the same frame, just slightly different tanks and slightly different rear racks on some of them. I have a his and hers of the all chrome frames, which this is a chrome frame here too, but this isn't the deluxe. This is just like the almost deluxe. But I have a his and hers deluxe that are all chrome, have the tanks on them, and then on the rack, it's a chrome rack and it has a taillight that comes up out of the rack. It took me forever to find all the pieces and the tanks and the parts for them. I ride the men's one every now and then. I try not to ride it too much just because all that plastic stuff's so fragile. Let's see if I can wheel it out of here. I think what I'm going to do before I take any more out of here is kind of move some of this stuff. Yeah, sidewalk's starting to get covered in snow. I'm going to have to wheel these all the way down to the other end. Probably would have been a little bit faster to bring my trailer, throw them on the trailer, and then back it down here, but oh well, it's not like I have anything else to do today. Main reason I'm doing this today instead of something more productive is because they can't haul cars today. They won't run their trucks when it's this cold. I already have a boatload of loads crushed and on the ground. I'm almost out of room to stack bundles, so no reason to go crush cars. Nobody's selling anything today. I mean, it's a holiday on top of everything else. So it's a perfect day to do something like this. All right, this is the room that I'm going to put my bikes in. This was a really nice room until one day the roof blew off of it in a storm. And then it rained and the entire ceiling caved in. It wasn't long after that we came and put the new roof on it though. So it didn't really get much water damage in here. It's just the ceiling itself kind of fell in. So I need to come in here and rip all this insulation out. It's not heated anyway. This is one of my project trucks that I'll probably never finish. All that was wrong with this truck was the lean burn setup was bad. So I replaced the lean burn with a Super 6 intake and carburetor. And I have the distributor for it. And you have to kind of do a little bit of wiring to put the old style computer on it. Not that big of a deal to get done, but I just never got around to it. And then those buddy buckets I was going to get redone and put in this truck. Oh, this door doesn't open, that's right. But anyway, this truck here is a miser option truck. No AC, no power steering, no power brakes, 3-speed overdrive, short bed, Utiline, just a plain Jane truck. And I just thought, man, that's just so cool. Pulled it out of a garage and stuck it in this garage, and I tinkered with it. I had it running once and just, I don't know, odds and things. I haven't touched it now in probably 4 or 5 years. We'll see. I'll keep thinking about it. I don't want to sell it yet. It ain't hurting nothing in here. It ain't getting any worse. Getting a nice healthy layer of dust on it, but that's about it. Oh, here's a deluxe space liner right here. I forgot I even had this one. This in here doesn't have the tank and it's missing the rear taillight, but this is kind of an idea of what the deluxe looked like. There's some pretty rare stuff in here, like this old chainsaw. It runs off of a clutch, and that way you could hold the chainsaw part level, the engine part level, but the actual saw part you could rotate around to different angles. That way you could cut at angles while holding that part at the same level so it didn't die on you. Got a whole bunch of brand new straps in here for whenever I need more straps. Of course I never do. I've got so many now. Oh, and check this out. When I was a kid, my dad bought this vise for me, and I would go out in the backyard and he had it mounted on all this wood up against the fence, and I would crush pop cans in it like I was crushing cars. And this is the vise I've told you guys about before that I have crushed, man, I don't know how many thousands of cans in that vise right there. It's broken and doesn't work anymore, but I want to try to find one like that I can make and do the same thing for my kids, take it home, and then they can go out and crush cans in it too. There's some neat stuff in here. 5-ton tag is pretty rare. John Deere spinner knob. Odds and end magnetos, carburetors. Got a supercharger. And there's a dual quad poly intake. And they're super rare, but below that are 2 single quad, single 4-barrel intakes for a polysphere engine. As rare as the dual quad is, even more rare is the single quad. It is nigh impossible to find those things. And then what do we got back here? Believe it or not, I used to sell the fire out of these fuses. Now the market for these has completely dropped off. The steampunk thing is kind of over. But when steampunk was hot, I was selling these things like crazy. I'd put like 20 of these in a lot and sell them for 20 or 30 bucks. And I mean, I sold hundreds of those old fuses. Now I'll probably just chuck all those in the dirty brass. There's a few instrument clusters and heaters and some bell housings, Detroit valve cover, odds and stuff, some more throttle bodies, some license plates, magnetos, brass carburetors, you name it. Then back here behind is a whole bunch of old grills. Then in the back of this truck I've got some more grills. Here's another deluxe space liner parts bike. I think this is a girl's frame. It's missing a lot of stuff, but it had the rack on it is the main reason why I bought it. License plates. I need to come in here and organize all this stuff, but right now I don't have time to worry about organizing too much. This whole side over here was clear full of NOS, Mopar fenders and doors and hoods and all sorts of stuff, and I sold most of it, and so now I've got a big open area. I can get all those bikes in here, no problem. There's a little bit of junk in here still too. Oh, check out this sign here. I need to take that home. I want to hang that up in my new shop that I have. I've been saving this thing for years. I have turned down big money on this sign multiple times just because it's so cool. And it's kind of a play on words for me being a car crusher, compacts only. Most of the cars I get turn into compacts eventually. But yeah, I'm just going to take that home with me today and slap that in my new barn. No, I keep calling it a barn. It's not a barn, it's a shop. Shovel heads, probably scrap those. A lot of this stuff over here is just scrap. Like this copper radiators. The only reason I put those in here is because I was unloading my truck one day and they were in my truck, and so they got stuck in here. A box of toy cars. I might throw those on Marketplace real quick for cheap. If I can get 20 bucks out of them, that'll buy lunch for me and a helper if I have a helper. It was too cold for help today. But okay, I'm going to start wheeling stuff in here and we'll check it out as I make progress. Alright, got all the bicycles moved. Now I need to see what's in these boxes. Oh, snowflake wheels. There's a dozen of these snowflakes over there already, so I'll start adding to the pile. What in the world is that? That one's brand new still. That's pretty crazy. That's a wild offset. Rocket? Huh. Another snowflake. Oh, it's a pair to that other one, so I guess I do have a pair of them now. That's cool. That makes me feel better. Now I don't have to scrap that other one. And another snowflake. Huh. I'm not sure. It's kind of neat. I don't know. Maybe it's worth something. American Racing. That one's... I don't know. That one's seen better days, I think. It might be worth something. We'll see. The box is all frozen to it. I'll have to let it thaw out. Well, with those there, we have 15 of the honeycomb or snowflake wheels, whatever you want to call them. Got a pair of those, And I was looking at these. This is a factory Camaro wheel here. I'll probably save that one no matter what, just because, I mean, it's already dismounted, and there's a bunch of them on eBay for $100. So, I mean, even if I can get 75 out of it, that's definitely way more than scrap and worth my time to sell. A lot of these aftermarket wheels, though, just are so hard to sell. I want to try one more time for just these few right here, especially these, since there's pairs of them. Those are brand new. But all these ones that are still mounted on tires, I decided I'm just going to go ahead and scrap all of them. There's a bunch of them. Some neat ones in here, but, you know, you just can't save them all. I've had 2 more people stop by now. Neither of them bought anything, so I think we're just going to go ahead and clean house on the rest of these once I have some help. So I was just looking at these again, and I realized it starts with 1978 Superman over here on this page. There's a bunch of those you go through, and then it goes over to Batman. I think this is from 1989. And then it goes up to, is this still 89? Yeah, still 89. Complete set. Okay, and then it goes to these. These are from 1995, I believe. Batman Returns. And this is one set here, and then it goes into, yeah, those. And then it goes into the Fleers. And there's a complete set of Fleers. So, it looks like there's what, 1, 2, 3, 4 complete sets of cards in here. And on eBay, these complete sets are going anywhere from 25 to 50 bucks a set, depending on condition. But I mean, it's probably a $100 bill right there. So we'll save that. I haven't looked these other things up though. So I was taking pictures of these to list them for sale, and I realized that there are like, well, there's only one of that one, but some of these Fleers have, 4 or 5 of each one in there. Like there's, looks like 3 of this one. Yeah, there's 4 of that one. And so, I mean, there's multiple sets here. There's one full set. And then there's multiple duplicates. There's probably almost enough for a second or even third set. Okay, until I'm ready to start hauling scrap out, there's not a whole lot more I can do down there at that end. So I'm going to come down here and kind of pick through what's left of this stuff here and get out anything I feel like messing with. Everything else I'm going to leave behind. Part of the problem is everything is slightly damp and frozen together. What's crazy is a lot of these parts I pulled out myself and I brought in here to save them from the crusher. And you see what happened here. They did not get saved, so now I lost my time and the parts. So I would have been better off just to go ahead, leave them on the car and crush them, which is what I'm going to start doing. I'm definitely going to stop saving nearly as much. But yeah, all this stuff here, I mean, there's probably some money in this pile still, but man, I don't know. It's all been getting rained on now for the last 3 or 4 months, so it's debatable. But like that there, everything still moves, and while the electronic switch may not be any good anymore, I mean, I'm sure the rest of this is still good. So yeah, we'll save that. That's worth saving. And actually, I'm looking at this. Oh, I see why this spot didn't get that bad. Is because there's this beam right here. And so it didn't get rained directly on this stuff in this pile. Yeah, but still a lot of it did not survive. Now these plastic parts, I think, are salvageable. I assume those are worth money or I never would have saved them. I always used to look every car up. And if it wasn't worth, decent money, I wouldn't save it. Yeah, the electronic parts, definitely not going to mess with any of that. It's too late for that. That's not a bad grill. Yeah, like this piece here, getting wet didn't hurt that a bit. So yeah, we'll save that. Dash bezel, I guess we'll save that. It's all plastic. This one here's got a little bit of the stuff gone, but we'll go ahead and save it. It's not broken, so that's something. AC vent. Another AC vent, although this one here, yeah, it's a little bit wonky. I guess we'll look at it later. Right now it's hard for me to even function because I'm wearing 35 layers, and this is all solid ice. You can't really see it, and so I'm slipping and sliding all over the place trying to work in here. That's clear full of ice. I don't want to put that in there because all the ice will just melt here in a day or two. Well, it'll probably be more than that. It's not supposed to get above freezing till the end of the week. What's this? A pile of emblems? Yeah, I guess. Man, my phone is just going nuts today. Just ding, 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 ding. And it's all people, what bolt pattern is that one random wheel? I'm like, it's 20 bucks. You think I'm going to go out there and measure every single wheel for 20 bucks? You're crazy. I will happily scrap them for 15. If you want them, you come down here, check them out, and figure out what you want. That's a nice tail right there. We'll save that for sure. Staples, junk. I'm going to try to chuck the junk car parts in one pile. That way I can shovel all that in the scrap later. I'm going to try to toss the trash in another pile. Wonder what that steering wheel's out of. We better look that up. Some of this stuff, like, why did I save that? That's got to be worth money. I better look it up. Well, it's really been snowing out here since I've been inside. Everything is going under snow. I'm going to have to move my truck because this is technically a snowplow lane. You're not supposed to park along the side of the street if it snows. But I can just pull it up in here, park it right here. I've got four-wheel drive. Won't be a big deal. This is for a Dodge truck is what this is. And in this condition, it's about $50 to $75. So definitely going to go ahead and save that piece. I've been putting a lot of stuff on eBay lately, so I'm getting back in the routine of it. I just wish I would have got into it a little bit sooner before this stuff got ruined. And then this here, I knew I had to have saved it for a reason. That's for a first gen 12 valve right there, 5.9 Cummins. That's about 100 to 150 bucks. So yeah, we did lose some stuff, but there's still a lot of stuff that is salvageable. Making pretty good progress in here. I found these boxes, and I think, yeah, they're all clear full of brand new glass packs. Not sure what brand they are, but they're brand new. I already pulled one out, and I think there's 1, 2, 3, yeah, 3 more boxes of them, so 5 brand new glass packs. This box, clear full of screws. Good screws. They're just drywall screws, so I don't know that I have a whole lot of use for them, but I mean, for what I do when I build pallets, these will work good enough. I don't even know what that would cost, but there's a lot of screws in that box. Making progress. I got these 2 alternators here. And at first glance, you look at these and you say, oh, those things are junk, which they probably are. But these housings, let's see if I can find it for you guys. There it is. Yeah, see that number right there? Probably can't see it on this camera very good. Doesn't focus in this close. But that is a factory GM alternator with the date code on it. Guys that are doing restorations where they want factory date codes on their cars, this is for a 68 GM. This in here, I don't see it. Where's that? Okay, see this one here. It would be right here. Is it on there? Yeah, this is for a 67 there. And so if somebody's restoring a 67 GM or 68 GM, they'll buy one of these and have it rebuilt rather than go down to the parts store and buy one, because then you don't have factory numbers. Some people don't care. Honestly, most people don't care. But I have sold 1 million of these old GM alternators like this, you know, for about 40 bucks plus shipping. And that's as a core, no guarantee, guaranteed, needs rebuilt. I haven't sold one for a while, but I haven't had any listed for sale. And in the past, every one that I've ever listed has sold. So I will save both of those. Super simple to package, just a little bit of cardboard around them, drop them in a box, and a little bit of packing paper around that, good to go. Then I got super lucky that this was covered up underneath some other stuff so it didn't get any water on it. That's a fairly high dollar radio. That's a Sapphire 9, it looks like. I'm not sure what this particular one is worth, but I know a lot of these old Sapphire radios are worth pretty good money. But yeah, I'm getting down to the end of it now. Just a little bit of stuff up here yet. And then after that, I think everything else that's left in this room is either scrap or trash. It's honestly going a lot better than I thought it was going to. Oh, I got this here. I don't remember why I saved this, but I'm pretty sure that is a factory fan shroud for like a 57, 58, 59, 60 Ford truck. I'm pretty sure that's what that is. It may not be, but if that is what it is, I've sold a ton of those in the past because they're somewhat hard to find. This fan shroud here is just for an old Mopar 318. I don't know if it's worth any money or not. And then a couple door panels out of a Dodge truck, which is what that is too. So I'll go ahead and save the door panels for sure. That piece there, I'll look it up later. Found a few other neat pieces. Found some Cummins diesel power pieces, some more Dodge odds and end parts there. And I think this is a factory tack cluster here, so I'll save that. And here's a few other dash parts. I'll save those, but oh, and then I got a Dodge truck radio and that throttle body. Then after that, I am done in this room once I carry this stuff out of here. That was my main goal for today, was to get the bicycles moved and to get all the small stuff picked up. I want to save these seats, but I can't carry those by myself, so I'll have to wait for help, and then I'll have to bring the skid steer or something down here to get that motor out. Looked up this fan shroud here, and that's for a late 70s Dodge truck, and they're going for about 100 to 150, and there's none on there right now. That's just what past ones have sold for. Definitely worth saving, I guess. A lot of work to package. And then this fan shroud here, I remember now what the details are on this. This is for a 57 to 60, but they only put these on bigger trucks. Pickups didn't get fan shrouds. So if you have a pickup and you want to have a little bit better cooling, a little bit better performance on that, you have to put one of these in there. It took me a minute to remember, but then once I got to thinking about it, I've sold a ton of those to guys that drive pickups. And you have to do a little bit of modification, but they're steel, so it's pretty easy to do. But here's all the stuff I saved. Just this little area right here. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 crates, and I think there's 5 crates counting that one back there. A few other odds and end parts. And then I got these mufflers. And then, I got this bucket of stuff here. And then I found 2 bell housings in there as well. They're probably $100 bell housings, so they're worth saving, and the water can't hurt those. Oh, and that Sapphire radio, wherever it's at, that's only like a $40 or $50 one, so it's not the high dollar one like I thought it was. But you know, we were able to salvage quite a bit of stuff out of that office that's fallen in. Yeah, other than that box of tools and that box of screws, I think I'm done in here. And there's still a roof left above that stuff over there, so it's not going to get wet, so I'm just going to let it sit for now until I have help. I got this crate full of stuff here, just an assortment, that tack cluster, some temperature controls, and a TBI, and I forget, there's something else in there too. I'm just going to go ahead and take all that home with me. That way I can go ahead and throw it on eBay and pay for my day of spending the time digging through this. Oh, and I found these. I forgot. I don't know if these are worth anything or not, but they say 69 Camaro traction bars. And good morning. It's the next day now. I forgot my SD card was almost full yesterday, and so it filled up, and that was the end of filming then. But I just had a guy here gave us a quote, or he's going to give us a quote on tearing down different chunks of the building. I'm not sure how much we're going to tear down. I'm in this section now looking it over, and really, if we put a new roof on this section's savable. Plus, I have this thing clear full of car parts. Clear full of vintage car parts. And I was just looking through here, and I thought I had sold everything worth any money out of these boxes that came from an auction a long time ago, but right there is a Corvette, 58 Corvette clock, about 100, 150 bucks. I mean, I really need to take the time to go through these boxes a little bit better. It's too cold for all that right now, but I got carburetors, oogle horns, I got parts, bell housings, more parts, you name it. All sorts of cool stuff in here. But I don't have electricity, and so it's always really hard to see what's in here. But if we put a roof on this building, I could come in here and get rid of all this and put in better shelves over here. and get all this stuff off the floor, organize it a little bit better. Back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and even into the 90s, this was all starters and alternators and things like that on these shelves in here. Bunches of carburetors. Man, I used to sell the fire out of carburetors. Everybody says, Silas, why do you have all this stuff? But, I mean, this is what I used to do full time, was eBay. I mean, I did crushing cars full time, but then I did eBay, kind of like I do YouTube now. And so, I mean, I made my money. Everything in here is paid for many times over. More than likely, one of these days, what I'll do is I'll come in here and I'll pick out, you know, the cream of the crop type stuff, the real high dollar stuff, and I'll go ahead and sell it. And then everything else I'll just take to the auction and liquidate. But not today, because every now and then I get a wild hair and I say, you know what, I want to sell a bunch of stuff on eBay. And so I'll come in here and take a bunch of pictures and list a bunch of stuff for sale. But we will see what the quote will be. We're kind of at the end of the video now, but if you want to know a little bit of history about this place, I guess I'll share that with you for those of you that are actually interested in that. This is the original entrance right here, and you came in here. Obviously, this is the desk. Obviously, it's covered in junk right now. A lot of this stuff in here is my dad's. I have a few things scattered around in here, like these license plates here on the edge. But anyway, you would come in here, and they had this display desk right here. This is where you would stand and order your parts. And they would have, you know, radios and you name it in here. And they had their little computer back here once computers were a thing. The main offices, like where they did their clerk work, was back up in there. They have a bathroom back in there. But you'd come in here, and I remember as a kid, we'd come in here when we'd crush cars out back. This has been a salvage yard for years and years and years, transferred hands many times. And throughout the 90s and 2000s, we would come in here and crush. And we'd come in here, and we'd come in from the back usually, on this sliding door here. We would slide it open and come in here and get a can of pop. It's the only reason I haven't junked that machine. It doesn't work, but I just remember using it as a kid, and it doesn't eat anything sitting there, so I just let it sit. But anyway, come in here and let them know what's up, and then we'd say, hey, we're running out of cars, and so one of them would grab a can of paint, and we'd go back out the back door and start marking more cars to crush. And what's really cool about that is my dad and his dad used to come out here and buy engine cores way back in the day, and they would do the same thing, come in here and slide that door open and come in here. So it's kind of a generational thing. That's why part of me is kind of like, it would be a whole lot cheaper to bulldoze this building and build a fence through here, but then part of me is like, you know, it might be worth the money to go ahead and just put an all new roof on this thing. I mean, this roof has needed replaced since before we bought the place even. So maybe a guy could re-roof just this section here and then tear down that direction. I don't know. We're going to tear down some of it for sure. We just haven't decided how much we're going to tear down. And I'll just go ahead and show you guys the new roof. Well, kind of the new roof. Where I put all my bicycles, an all new roof. The building beside that's an all new roof. This roof here doesn't leak in the first place. This is still an old, not that old, but it's a tin roof. But this room here is all brand new. This spring they're coming in here to put electricity in here and build shelves. That way we can organize a lot of the stuff. Obviously I have a boatload of bicycles in here still. This is all my stuff. My dad has a bunch of tools and other things he wants to have organized. So this will be where he does that. I'm going to go through these bicycles here, and oh, there's that bike. I need to get that out of here. That General right there. Sean's getting ready to leave for California tomorrow. He's coming by one more time, so I ought to send that with him. But yeah, anyway, most of these bicycles probably just going to go ahead and get rid of. I have one of my Murray frames like I like over there. I think there's another one in here somewhere. I don't know where it's at. But anyway, I have the Sears 3-speed here that's a fold-up bike. Probably keep that one. And oh, where's it at? I don't even see it now. I have no clue where I put it. Maybe I already took it out to the other yard. But anyway, one of these bikes in here has a 2-speed kickback hub in it that I wanted to keep as well. This car here ran perfect. We drove this car in here years ago and parked it over in the corner, and the tires are flat, so we pulled the wheels off to get tires put on it. The engine still turns by hand. Probably wouldn't take much to get it going again. So if anybody is interested in a 60, what is this, 63, 4? Got round taillights, so I think it's a 63. I could be off on that, but anyway, like I say, it hasn't run in a while now, so it's probably going to need a rebuilt carburetor. It's scratched down both sides really bad. An old lady had it, parked it in the garage. You know the stereotypical story. But I mean, it was taken care of and parked inside the garage for years. It's got a bunch of wood on it now from when they redid the roof. But, you know, I mean, it's not that rusty of a car. There's just a few little tiny spots here and there. So this would make somebody a good, you know, just old driver car. If you just wanted an old car to drive that you didn't have to worry about scratching, this would be perfect for that. Pretty sure my dad said he wanted $2,000 for it. Maybe it was $1,500, but I'm thinking it was $2,000. Obviously, we'll get the wheels put back on it and open up the garage door. We can get it out fairly easy. But yeah, anyway, more history on this building is this was their tire shop in here, at least in my lifetime. Now, before my lifetime, you know, back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, I don't really know much about this place. The original salvage yard was down on the corner, the section that we're getting ready to tear down, and it was called Johnny Sutton Motors. And he would work on cars, and when they weren't worth fixing, he would park them out back. And eventually he just like, well, I got enough cars, I might as well start a salvage yard. That was back in the 40s or 50s, I believe. And so out here, he just kind of started filling it in with cars. But all of these buildings, all the way down this whole block, all belonged to other people or were rented to other people. Like there was a mechanic shop in here forever. And then down further was another mechanic shop. And I think there was like a hot rod shop down there. And so I don't know what was in this room originally. And there used to be a lean-to back here. And they had, you know, fenders and doors and stuff like that stored in that. And then later on, like I was saying, in my lifetime, this year, the mechanic shop left. And so they used this as their main dismantling station. And every now and then they would fix cars to resell. And so they would roll their cars in here, and they had a forklift with real long forks. So it was kind of a smaller forklift, and it would fit through that door. They could bring them in here, and they'd set them on the lift, pull the engines out, get them running, whatever. And then the building that we tore down is where they stored the engines after they got them running and wrote down the mileage and all that sort of stuff, transmissions, things like that. So they had a pretty good setup in here, but I think they just liked rebuilding cars more than they liked salvaging cars. And in fact, that's what they do now, is they rebuild cars still. But then after they crushed out, we crushed them out, and they basically said, you know what, we don't want to do this anymore. And so they let the property go back to the guy that they were buying it from. And so he put it on the sheriff's sale just to let it go away. And we went in there, and the minimum bid, I think at that time, was $60,000. This would have been about 2000. I'm trying to think of what year it was. I was driving. It would have been about 2006, I think, 2007, somewhere around there. Minimum bid was $60,000, and my dad bid the minimum bid, and nobody else bid, so we got the whole place. It was an empty field back then. There was there was one car out back in the field, a Malibu station wagon, and actually it's still sitting right where it was at that point in time. And so once we bought the place, I turned this big open room into my bicycle shop, and I used to rebuild bikes in here. I rebuilt, I don't know how many bikes, and that was in 2008, going into 2009 and 2010 is when I was rebuilding bikes, and I made a little money at it, and that was kind of my first business endeavor. And then I got into doing eBay in here, sold a lot of stuff on eBay out of this room, and then just as time went on, I kind of quit using it, and I haven't used it now in forever and a day. But this room right here is where I got my start on my own as a business person. I've always worked for my dad, but I kind of wanted to do my own thing too, at least on the side. And so this is where it all began. But that's enough story time for today. I saved all this for the end of the video. One time I kind of told a few stories at the beginning of a video, and boy, there's a lot of angry people in the comments. They didn't want to hear my story. I talk too much, they say, and I probably do talk too much. But on a day like today, when it's minus 15-degree wind chills outside, I mean, it's a good day to stand in here and tell those stories. But I will let you all go. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day. Thank you for those of you that stuck around to the end of the video. Thank you for hanging out with me. Stay tuned for the next video. I don't know. I'll probably film cleaning out all those wheels and all that sort of stuff. I don't know. I may not make a dedicated video about that place again. We'll see how it goes. I just kind of have to see how things pan out. But with that, remember to get out there, find yourself an adventure. See you on the next one.